a dollar amount for value that I was bringing to the table was extremely hard for me. So to take it a step further and ask for a contribution towards the podcast was like, oh no, you think you're that good that you can charge for your content? And you know what? I had to really rearrange the way I was looking at this. I also had to let the idea of Patreon go for a minute because I wasn't aligning with it. That's what a limiting belief does, you guys. It really stands in the way of obtaining any abundance that is coming towards you. And so as a woman of color, as any person of color, we really just have to find the alignment within and of course launch something when you're fully aligned. Oh my goodness, can I get some snaps for being finally fully aligned? I know that there is value to the content that I am bringing to the table. We hear it all the time via emails, via direct messages, people binging on the content. And the truth is that costs are incurred when we create this type of content, most especially with podcasters, because there isn't a real way to monetize when you're a small podcaster like Let There Be Luz. We're still small, trying to grow. Some of the ways to help, I've talked about this before, is to head over to iTunes and write a review, give us 5 stars. But another way to contribute is via Patreon. So if you're not familiar with Patreon, Patreon is a subscription-based program that helps you support your favorite artists. If you enjoy the content that I'm creating and you would like to contribute to help pay for the costs that are incurred, for example, part of my internet expenses, part of my SoundCloud costs, part of our website costs, just all of the costs that are incurred to make this content possible, it would mean so much to me if you all would head over to the Patreon on Wednesday and pledge a monthly subscription. We have levels starting at $3. I'm so excited for this. And then we have an $11 level and a $22 level. And each of the levels have perks, and you can always go up 1 month or come down a month. So you don't have to stay consistently. If you wanted to pledge the $22 level for a certain period of time, you could do that. And then you could drop back down to the $3 level. It just depends. If you wanted to enjoy a certain perk during a certain month, then please, by all means. So much love and so much energy, so much of my heart and soul goes into this podcast. And I know you all know that. So if you want to support the heart and the soul that goes into it, please stay tuned for information on the Patreon on Wednesday. I also wanted to give a really special shout out to @Chingona Wellness. She donated $25 last month, and I am so grateful because you were able to pay for a month and a half of my SoundCloud costs. So I just want to say thank you so much to Chingona Wellness for making that donation. It did not go unnoticed, and I am full of gratitude for it. The next announcement that I have is that we are having a Warriors Giving this year. I'm so excited for this dinner. It is going to be pure magic. Let me tell you why. Because we only have 11 seats open at the table. And this was done on purpose. We could have had a huge dinner for 50 people, but I really wanted to get to know you all personally. Sometimes when we have events, I really can't invest a lot of my time because I'm trying to say hi to everyone and try to see, hug, kiss, and have a little chat with everyone aside from the agenda that we have. So this dinner is going to be extremely intimate. We're really going to get to know each other. We're going to have a beautiful topic on the table that each of us is going to get to discuss. We're going to have a lavish dinner with all of the alcohol beverages. So get ready to get warrior wasted. We're not going to get too crazy, but we're going to get a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? We have something really special. Dari Luna. I've talked about Dari Luna on our podcast before. I was in her mastermind class and she also did channeling. She was only doing channeling for her close friends and family, and she would do a small channeling session if you purchased one of her pieces of art. But now she is going to be channeling much more open. Her guides have been giving her messages that it is time for her to share and help other women unlock how to channel. So she's going to have some classes coming up in January that I'm really excited for. So stay tuned for news on that. But in the meantime, she is going to provide a small channeling session for everyone that is in attendance at our Warriors Giving. It is going to be a very limited amount of space that is opened. So stay tuned for that because that information is going to launch first with those that join our Patreon. We're going to release more information on the karmic investment for the Warriors Giving and also more about the menu and more about what's going to take place that night. So location, time, all of that is coming up. So stay tuned for that. The last announcement that I have is that Angie Sanchez, who facilitated this past life regression, is going to open space with us in a free webinar, a Q&A. You all are so curious about what is taking place. Angie is getting bombarded with so many questions on her end. So we decided to streamline this. Let's tackle it. Let's open up a free webinar where you all can ask both myself as the recipient of a past life regression and to Angie as a facilitator of past life regression. If you have any questions, then now is going to be your chance to join us on October 29th. Stay tuned for the details on that. And that's it. Those are all the announcements that I have. I did want to chat a little bit about last week's episode because I did get the same comment a few times. I did want to remind you that there were some parts that I was keeping near and dear to my heart. I wasn't going to share. So the opening session is not included. When you hear Angie bringing me into where I'm in my pyramid of light, I was already a few other places before I landed there. I just wanted to remind you that you're not going to get to hear the entire session, but I am sharing a big part of the session. I also wanted to share that since I've had time to process it, and since I've had time to listen to the recordings several times, I am making so many connections for myself personally and in my life's journey. It's bringing so much clarity to who I am now. Things make so much more sense to me. That is one of the benefits that I think I'm enjoying the most about having done this process. When you do something like this, it is recorded for you to listen to. What Angie and I did is standard procedure, and it helps for you to go back and listen, because sometimes when you're speaking, you don't remember all of the details and a lot of it gets, I don't want to say lost, but there's so much coming at you at the same time that it's hard to remember. For example, I can remember certain scenes happening in my right eye and some happening in my left eye. Some voices or things that I heard, I remember in my left ear, and some I remember in my right ear. For example, when I was hovering in the cave and Shanaka was talking, I could see and hear her on the right side. But when people were talking to me or calling my name, Shanaka, I could only hear it on the left side. I wanted to share that with you and then also share that the ladies on the team got really curious and they wanted to know what Shanaka meant, and we actually found a meaning for it, and I wanted to share it with you because I also found it pretty fascinating. The name Shanaka means that you are spiritually intense, can sting or charm. Your name brings love and new starts into life and attracts money. In business, you are the creator and promoter of original ideas and usually enjoy considerable financial success. You are bold, independent, inquisitive, and interested in research. You know what you want and why you want it. You are always looking for a chance to do your own thing, to be your own person, and to have things done your own way. We also found that the root word for the name Shanaka is Shanka, and it is a conch shell that was used religiously in Hinduism and Buddhism. And if you remember, I recall when she asked what I was wearing shells. I did see a lot of shells, and I did see the conch around my neck, and most especially all the way around my belly area. It was like a belt. The Shanka was used as a war trumpet, which when I read that, I immediately saw how Shanaka was a sort of war trumpet, how she was trying to alert and I guess wake up her family and her friends into we are in war mode, whether she was able to do that successfully or not. I think that was the last attempt that she had while she was alive. I'm going to let you enjoy part 2 of Past Warrior.
Strangled.
You were strangled. So you don't have to feel anything. Just watch it as an observer. If you like, you don't feel anything. Just watch it as an observer. So look into his eyes and see if you recognized him. Is he someone you know in this current lifetime, or someone you knew in this current lifetime?
Yeah.
Who is he?
He's the father of my son.
The father of your son. So he's one of these people that came into your homeland.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about how you see him.
I can see as he's strangling me that he loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sense a pact of we'll be together again, just not now.
Mm.
It's so confusing because it's like my enemy.
Mm-hmm. What's his name there in that moment? What do people call him?
I can see the letters.
Mm-hmm.
It says C-O-L C-O-R. Coronel, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Coronel.
Coronel. Mm-hmm. Is he like the head of that group of people?
I don't think he's the head.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's the leader amongst his unit.
I see. So now that you're on the other side, there is a purpose for every life that we experience. What was your purpose? You understand this from the other side. What was your purpose in this lifetime?
My purpose was to help minds expand.
How do you feel about this life that you just lived?
I I almost feel like it's confusing because what was my purpose? Like, everyone stayed, no one moved, and the Transformers ended up transforming us anyways. So I feel, but we became the Transformers, so I guess I feel like it served its purpose. It just wasn't what I wanted.
We transition out of Shinaka's life, and in my mind's eye, it feels like we move forward in time. I go on to explore 2 different dimensions where I get to connect with people that have already transitioned, and I also connect with people that are here in this life, still alive, but we are connecting in a different place, which was really interesting. The person that I connected with that is still alive, we connected in a beautiful city that was all white, and they were all dressed like Catholic priests where they were wearing layers of robes. And then we went into a different dimension, which I kept calling the purple dimension, where I was connecting with entities that had already transitioned. When I was connecting with the entities that already transitioned, it was like I was watching the entities coming towards me. But as they came closer and the picture got clearer, I realized that they weren't separate from me, but that we were actually all one entity together. It was kind of like, imagine if you're sitting down in a chair and you're looking straight forward, but you don't know what you're looking at all. You're looking at everything for the very first time in your life. Now imagine that you lift your legs up and your feet up and you can see your toes. Now imagine yourself getting closer to your toes, and as you move your head and look closer, you then begin to realize that your toes are actually attached to your body, but they're separate in the sense that you can move them, that they can react. It was sort of like that. The entities that I connected with were people that I knew on this earth. It was really hard to describe what I was seeing. There were so many layers to it, and it was almost like I had to feel what I was seeing and then have to process and describe it. It wasn't like when I was in the city and I could see everything so clear, or like when I was in the cave. I had to go through layers of processing to understand what was taking place and who I was coming in contact with. In this next part, I connect with my higher beings. So what you're going to hear coming out of me is not necessarily coming from me. When she calls in my higher beings at this point, I do feel a strong shift in my body. I can feel my face tensing up and a lot of heat around my cheek area, most especially on my right side. And I did feel my hands stiffening up. I'm not going to share everything in this conversation, but I am going to bring some closure to Shinaka.
Chose to bring forward different dimensions and different lifetimes that she observed. What was the purpose of Linda seeing this lifetime where she was in this cave and these transformers came? What was the purpose of higher self showing her this lifetime that she experienced?
She is manifesting the same lifetime for herself again.
Is this serving her? Is it helping her?
She was unable to complete it the first time.
Is her mission differently this time?
It's very similar. Help awaken gifts in other people.
That's why she felt that nothing happened and the people stayed.
Yes.
And what was the purpose of her recognizing the man?
She needs to understand that we aren't separate.
You also showed her this place that was like a university, a different dimension, where she also ran into her in a different form. Why did you choose to show this to her?
He's still learning. Her soul is more advanced than his soul. So she has to understand what level he is at.
Why does she like going to this place? To observe.
She likes to see people learning. And she likes to see their progression.
Who is Linda? Ultimately, what is her purpose?
She is a teacher.
From where? Can we show her where she's coming from? Her purpose is coming from?
She is coming from the place she just left from.
What is this place? This dimension?
It's another dimension. Purple dimension.
Purple dimension. Can we know more about this place?
It's just a place that we all pass through. And this is her passing through.
Does she go back there often in this lifetime?
We connect with her. There's other souls in this dimension, and we connect to her.
What is she to teach? Or what is she teaching already?
She is teaching something very simple. She is teaching inside here in the purple dimension.
What is she teaching there?
How to get to the purple dimension.
I see. How do people get there?
They have to not plug in to the transformers, but just connect to themselves via the earth
Via the earth.
and the stars.
What are some ways that we as people can connect to the earth?
Grounding,
Grounding.
connecting to the plants.
Can we know more about these transformers? What are they?
It's energy that does not serve us. It's dark energy that is not expanding consciously. They're not traveling through the dimensions. They are staying in the lower level dimensions. But they are also teachers. We use them to help with our teachings. We use them as a reflection to help teach us what we're not.
Will there ever be a point where we don't actually need them?
We will have to learn to work with them until they transform.
And is that their natural evolution, or is there anything we can do to help them transform?
We were once transformers.
Linda shared with me how there were certain people that would come into her life and help her. Who were these people that would come in?
They're in the purple dimension.
And did they come to assist her, guide her?
Assist her, guide her, and protect her.
And did she call on them, or did they watch her and come in to her reality?
She wanted to give up this mission. We had to send help.